Chapter 15, Probability. Probability is the chance of occurring. Best example is weather forecast. So, what's the formula to find the probability of an event? Number of favorable outcomes divided by total number of outcomes. What's the formula? Number of favorable outcomes divided by total number of outcomes. So, when we take this section, the first example which we consider is tossing a coin. When you toss a coin, what are the possible outcomes, or what are the outcomes? Head or tail? Head or tail. So, total outcomes are 2. It is either head or tail. So, what is the probability to get a head? What is the probability to get a head? The number of favorable outcomes, that is head, 1. From how many? From 2. So, the probability is 1 by 2. Similarly, probability of tail is also equal to 1 by 2. So, when you toss a coin, the possible outcomes are head or tail. So, probability to get head is 1 by 2 and probability to get a tail is 1 by 2. So, what we can say here is both are greater than 0. And what about the total? P of H plus P of T is equal to 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2, which is equal to 1. So, what I am going to say is the probability should be greater than or equal to 0. It can be 0 also, that I will explain later. So, probability of an event should be greater than or equal to 0 and total probability should be always 1. Then consider tossing a die. What are the possible outcomes when you toss a die? Outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So, what is the probability to get 1? It is 1 out of 6, that means 1 by 6. What about probability to get 2? 1 by 6 itself. It is only one number, 1 by 6. And similarly, probability of 3 is equal to, probability of 4 is equal to, probability of 6 is equal to 1 by 6. So, what about the total probability? 1 by 6 plus 1 by 6 plus 6 times. So, it is 6 by 6 is 1. So, what I suggest, the probability of an event is always greater than or equal to 0 and the total probability is always equal to 1. Next, what I said is probability of H plus probability of T is 1. That means probability of H plus the T, even T happens means even H is not happening. Even H is not happening. That means P of H dash is equal to 1. Not happening. That means probability of happening of one event plus probability of not happening of the same event, is equal to 1. The probability of H plus probability of T is 1 means probability of H. Probability of T happens means probability of H is not happening. H is not happening. That means probability of an event plus probability of not happening of the same event is equal to 1. Then next is sure event. An event which is sure to happen is called sure event. Sure event means the happening of an event which is sure, that is known as sure event. The probability of a sure event is always 1. The probability of a sure event is always 1. Then impossible event. Impossible event means not possible to happen. An event which is not possible to happen is known as impossible event, and the probability of an impossible event is always equal to 0. Sure means sure to happen, the probability is 1. Impossible means it is impossible to happen, that is known as impossible event, and the probability of an impossible event is always equal to 0. An example is the probability to get the number 8 when you toss a coin or when you toss a die. Both these are not possible. So the probability of that event is always equal to 0.